गिरिधारी शिशि राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्यानंद विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्यानंद विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्यानंद विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्यानंद विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्यानंद विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्यानंद विष्णु महाभागवत श्रील गोरक्षदास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। नित्यानंद विश्व शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय। नित्यानंद विष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपानु गौरिया गुरु वर्ग की जाय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय। नाम चय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल कोरमंडल ब्रजमंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव जय। श्री श्री भजन रहस्य की जय। श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर भजन रहस्य एंड संमोदन भाष्य of शिक्षाष्टक की जय। जय श्री हरिनाम संक. Oh, and today is, let's just see, just opening up the calendar. जय शिला भक्ति कमल गोविंद महाराज की जय। तो दिया शुभ तिरुवाव तिथि की जय। श्री कामिका अकादशी तिथि की जय। अकादशी तिथि पालन करी भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री चतुर्मास्य व्रत की जय। व्रत पालन करी भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. And today is, I'm just looking at the calendar, it is my mother's birthday. I think she turns 70 today. Anyhow, okay. So we'll do the Mangala Charan. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Mayavarati Mingilo Daragatan Udritya Jiva Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Gahana Sukhang Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodang Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajan Radharasa Sudha Nidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayang Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वृषभानुसुतान्वितवामतनुं यमुनातटनागरनन्दसुतं मुरलीकलगीतविनोरपरं भज गोद्रुमकाननकुञ्जविदुम्। स्मर गौरगदाधरकेलिकलं भवगौरगदाधरपक्षचर शृणु गौरगदाधरचारुकथां भज गोद्रुमकाननकुञ्जविदुम्। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवी त्वां नयमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्या प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीस्वरूपराय सङ्गहर्षशेषघोषणं शिक्षणाष्टकाख्य कृष्णकीर्तनैकपोषणं प्रेम नाममात्र विश्वजीवनैकसंभरं प्रेमधाम देवमेव नौमि गौरसुन्दरम्। प्रेमोर्भावितहर्षैर्योद्वेगधन्यर्तिमिश्रितं लपितं गुरचन्द्रस्य भाग्यवद्भिर्निषेव्यते। प्रभुर्शिक्षाष्टक श्लोक जय पोरे शुने कृष्णे प्रेम भक्ति तार बारे dine dine. Whoever reads or hears the Lord's Shikshashtak verses will find their prem bhakti to Krishna growing more and more each day. Okay, now we will recite Shikshashtak and then we will begin, and then I'll see all who's joined. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha tavagni nirvapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam Vidyavadu jivanam Anandam bhutivardhanam pratipadam Purnamrita swadanam Sarvatma snapanam parang vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishamiha Janina Nuraga Trinarapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Hari Na dhanam na janam na sundaring Kavitam va jagarisha kamaye Mama janmani janmanishvare Bhavatar bhaktir ahaituki tvayi Ainandatanuja kinkaram Patitang mam vishame bhavam bhudo Kripaya tava para pankaja Sthita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya Nayanam galadashudharaya Vadanam gadgadharudhaya gira Pulakarnichitang vapukada Tava nama grahane bhavishyati Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravrishayitam Shunyaitam jagat sarvam Govinda virahena me. Ashlisha pararatang pinashtumam Adarshanan marma hatam karotu va Yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato Mat prananastastu sa eva na para. Right. Um, Jai Shri Chaitanya Shikshashtaka ki Jai, Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai. Right. Dandavat pranams, everybody who's joined. Ndri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, and Rohini Nandan Prabhu. Nice to see your face, Prabhu. Hari Bol. And Champak Mataji, and whoever that is watching on their iPhone, maybe that's Bhavatarani Mataji. And all the devotees watching on YouTube and Facebook. Nobody wrote comments yet, so I'm guessing that Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Ganga Mataji, and who else? And Krishna Mai Didi, and I don't know who else is joining. Yeah, if you write a comment, I'll see your name. And also pranams to all devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Revati Didi, Jayade Prabhu, Manjari Didi, and everybody else. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining. Today we are going to go through the Anarthas, the 4 types of Anarthas, and then how those 4 types of Anarthas are further broken down. So we'll go through 16 Anarthas today. But before we do that, let's have a little recap of the verses that we went through. This morning also I looked a little bit at the verses that I was trying to figure out. I looked at it a little bit this morning, so it's a bit more clear to me. I think I'll do a better job at explaining it today. Let me just open up the book. Bhajana-rahasya. I want to make a chart just to, yeah, I need to do that at some point because it's okay. So Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana, Prata Kaliya Bhajan. So this is Anartha Nivritti in Sadhu Sangha. So the previous one, Nishanta, is Shraddha. We become first we have some Sadhu Sangha, and then from that we get our initial Shraddha, and that means the end of the night for the jiva. The darkness, this ignorance is now starting to dissipate. The sun of Harinam is just starting to rise. It hasn't risen yet. The sun's not visible yet, but the darkness is becoming eradicated. Our ignorance is going, and we have faith. And then once we have this initial Shraddha, then we are actually begin to associate with sadhus in the truer sense, because now everything that they're saying, all the harikatha that we hear from them and their example that we see, we're hearing it, we're observing them with faith. And so then we begin to engage in the process of bhajan, we begin our sadhana from this point. And when we do that, then the anarthas start to go away. So this is, and so this is now when the second verse of Shikshashtaka is introduced at this stage. There is no consideration of proper or improper time in regard to chanting the Lord's holy names, which are fully endowed with all potencies. This is described in the second verse of Shikshashtaka. Okay, so this is our process. We have this Harinam now, and it's endowed with all potencies. So it is the most powerful thing that we can have to destroy these anarthas. But even though it's so accessible, it's unlimitedly powerful. It's Krishna himself, so it's as powerful as Krishna is. That's how powerful Harinam is. So it's Shaktiman, really. And so even though the most powerful thing the most powerful thing that is, and even though it's so accessible and there's not even any rules for chanting it, we can do it. Still, I'm not taking it seriously. I don't even try. I try so hard for material things. I try so hard for everything else except for Harinam. I don't put in any effort. And so, Durdaivam. This is my misfortune. even though you are so merciful, Bhagavan, this is my misfortune, that anurag for these names has not been born within me. So that's this verse. Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smarane nakala etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idrishamiha janinanuraga. And so today the topic is, what is this durdaivam? What is this misfortune? What is it coming from? And what durdaiva, misfortune, and anartha almost have the same meaning. Actually, in this edition of Bhajana-rahasya, Srila Gurudev translates anartha as durdaiva, as misfortune. Because artha means fortune, right? It means wealth, it means fortune. And anartha is the opposite of fortune. So misfortune, unfortunate. It also means that which has no value. So all the worthless things that are that have absolutely no value, that we work so hard for what? For nothing. That's also our anartha. That's our durdaiva. That's our misfortune. Okay, so nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrarpita. So akari, you have manifested bahuda, these many, so many nam, all these names. And tatra, there in those names, arpita, you have infused nija sarva shaktis, all your shaktis, all your own shaktis. Nija, your own, sarva, all shaktis. And so you've given us yourself completely. You've put in all your potencies. Now this Nam is Shaktiman. You are Shaktiman and this Nam is Sarva Shaktiman. And you're so merciful that smarane, in remembering these names, na niyamita, na kala niyamita. There's no na niyamita. There's no restrictions of kala, of time. It can be chanted at any time, in any condition, anywhere. Etadrishi tava kripa, Bhagavan. Etadrishi, such tava is your kripa, is your mercy, Bhagavan, O Bhagavan. However, mama durdaivam idrisham. Mama, my durdaivam, misfortune, idrisham, is such that that in these names, ajani, nanuraga, na ajani, was not born anurag. No anurag was born within me. So, O Bhagavan, your names bestow all auspiciousness upon the jivas. Therefore, for their benefit, you are eternally manifest as your innumerable names, such as Ram, Narayan, Krishna, Mukunda, Madhav, Govinda, and Damodar. You have invested those names with all the potencies of their respective forms. Out of your causeless mercy, you have not even imposed any restriction on the remembrance of these names, as is the case with certain prayers and mantras that must be chanted at specific times, like Sandhya Vandana. In other words, the holy name of Bhagavan can be chanted and remembered at any time of the day or night. This is the arrangement you have made. O Prabhu, you have such causeless mercy upon the jivas. Nevertheless, due to my nam aparad, I am so unfortunate that no attachment for your holy name, which is so easily accessible and which bestows all good fortune, has awakened within me. Oh, and Dandavat pranams, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj and Krishna Mai Didi Haribo. All right, so now in these first, what is it? I think it's like the first 6 verses. Well, after this, it will be the next 5 verses. Or maybe it's next 4 verses. I think it's the next 4 verses. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains the meaning of Nam Namakari Bahuda, so that you have manifested innumerable names. And he gives this verse from Srila Rupa Goswami's Krishna Namashtak, which we know the song Hari Nama Tua Aneka Swarupa. It's the Sanskrit verse for that song. So it talks about Anek Swarup. You have so many different forms. And then it goes through, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in that kirtan goes through so many forms of Krishna, so many different names of Krishna. It's many different Swarups. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a verse, Nija Sarva Shaktis, gives a verse from Shrimad, was it the Skanda Puran? Let's just look at the verses. Anyways, and then after that, we'll look at it. But I think the meaning of the verse was that all all the Shakti, that every single type of pious act, like giving in charity, performing austerities, doing all these different activities, doing even Ashwamedha Yagya, the Rajasurya Yagya, every kind of auspicious act that you can do, all the potency that's within those, um, Krishna has taken all that and he's put in all that Shakti in the names. And that's just material auspicious activities. What to speak of all his transcendental potency that he's put in the names. And so then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains Nija Sarva Shaktis with that verse. And then he gives another verse for Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala. Sorry, he gives a verse for Niyamita Smarane Nakala, how it can be chanted at, I think from the Skanda Puran, if I remember correctly. Well, we'll see. About how Nam can be chanted and there's no regulations regarding the place, the time, and whether you're clean or or not clean or anything. There's no restrictions for chanting the name. In any condition that you chant the name, it will give param muchyate. It will give you the topmost form of liberation, which Srila Gurudev explains is prem bhakti. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a verse explaining from Srimad Bhagavatam, and I looked at this verse today, so I'll be able to explain it a little bit better. But it explains Durdaivam. What is the misfortune? What does that misfortune actually mean? And then from that, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur then gives some verses from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th chapter, explaining how Vyasadeva, how he in his deep in his meditation, he had darshan of he purified his mind. He went into deep meditation, and then he had darshan. Then he in his meditation he had darshan of Krishna, and then he also saw Maya, which was fully sheltered under Krishna, but far away from him. This Maya, and anyways, we'll go through that verse, and then he saw the condition, and then he saw the jivas, and he saw the condition of the jivas, how they got these anarthas. And that is the segue into this topic of anarthas. Now, so we see with this one verse, we see, I'll explain the verse, but we'll see what is this misfortune. It's anarthas. And then why do we have these anarthas? Then he gives these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Vyasadeva, he gives us everything we need to remove those anarthas, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the basis of all the Harikatha, of all of our acharyas. Everything's based on Srimad Bhagavatam. And that Harikatha of Srimad Bhagavatam coming from the lips of sadhus, that is what will nullify all these anarthas. But then we have to know what the anarthas are. We need to know what we're working with, like what we're trying to get rid of. And so today, the topic will be reading in depth all the anarthas. And then after all that, maybe in tomorrow's reading, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like a big chunk, like a big portion of this chapter will be all the different ways in which we remove anarthas. He gives a bunch of verses from Upadeshamrita, from Manashiksha, and from many different places. Actually, I think he starts with this Bhayam Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana, how we must take shelter of Sri Guru. Anyway, so he gives everything that we need to know for how to remove anarthas. This chapter is this section of Bhajana-rahasya is so essential for us because this is the part, like this is the whole manual for where we are right now at our stage, how we deal with all these anarthas, exactly what we do step by step. It's one of the I was just looking through it. It's like one of the most practical chapters in this for me right now, especially. Hari Bo Rukmini Didi and Patita Pavani Didi. Okay, so let's see the different verses. Okay, so a prayer for attaining attachment for the holy name is given in the 5th verse of Namashtak. This is explaining how you manifest innumerable swarups. Nam namakari bahuda. So, agadamana yashoda. Sorry. Agadamana Yashoda Nandano Nandasuno Kamala Nayana Gopi Chandra Vrindavanendra Pranata Karuna Krishna Ityaneka Swarupe Tvai Mamarati Ruchair Vardatam Namadeya Namadeya, oh Harinam. May my rati, mama rati, may my rati twai, for you, always uchar vardadam, may it always greatly increase for these anek swarup, for your many, in these many forms of yours, like Agadamana, like Yashoda Nandana, like Nanda Sunu, like Kamala Nayana, Gopi Chandra, Vrindavanendra, Pranata Karuna, and Krishna, and so many swarups like these made my rati for you always greatly increase. Uchai Vardatam. So it gives 8 names here, and Srila Gurudev in his commentary gives a very rasik meaning for all the names. And then now Krishna has invested all his potencies in his name, the Skanda Puran states. And whatever potency to nullify sins or bestow auspiciousness found in charity, vows, austerities, pilgrimage, the Rajasuya and Ashwamedha yagyas, knowledge of transcendental objects, and so forth, has been invested by Sri Krishna in his holy names. That is the primary names. Dharma Jagya Yoga Gyane Jatta Shakti Chilo Shab Hari Name Krishna Swayam Samarpilo. Okay, now Niyamita Smarane Nakala. Now this part. In the performance of Nam Bhajan, there is no consideration of cleanliness or uncleanliness or proper or improper time. This is corroborated in the Vaishvanar Samhita. Sorry, I got that wrong. I said Skanda Puran. Was the previous verse Skanda Puran? Yeah, the previous verse was Skanda Puran. Okay, that's why I got it mixed up. Okay, so then this verse, in chanting Nadesha Kala Niyamo, Na Shocha Shocha Nirnaya, Param Sankirtana Deva, Rama Rameti Muchate. So there's no niyams of desh or kal. There's no restrictions of place or time. And there's no nirnai, there's no consideration of shocha or ashocha, of being pure or impure. From this sankirtanad, from this sankirtan, Eva, certainly, from this sankirtan of Rama Rameti, of the names of Ram, of the of Krishna's names, one is param muchate, one achieves the supreme, topmost, param muchate, the topmost form of liberation, which Srila Gurudev says here is prem bhakti. Prem bhakti is obtained. Desha kala shotra shotra vidhi name nai, Hare Krishna Ram name, sadya tore jai. Sadya means very quickly. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, very quickly he crosses, he is liberated. Tore jai. He says Hare Krishna Ram Nam. So Hare Krishna Ram, the Maha Mantra. Now we come to Durdaivam. The characteristics of misfortune are described in Srimad Bhagavatam 397. So 3rd canto, 9th chapter, verse 7. And I think it's Brahma speaking here. Brahma speaking to Krishna. I'd like to see the whole verse together. Let me just make this bigger. Hey, what the heck happened? That's so weird. Let me type in the word misfortune. Just lost our spot. Misfortune. That's annoying. There. Okay. So the characteristics of misfortune are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. I just want to see this whole verse together. Arg. anyhow, whatever. I'll just have to go back and forth. So, let's see if I can, this is going to be my attempt now to try to explain it. Actually, let's read the translation first and then I'll try to explain it because that will help me. Okay, so those persons who refrain from the hearing and chanting of your glories, which destroys all misfortune, and instead always engage in inauspicious activities, being obsessed with the desire for a particle of material sense enjoyment, are certainly wretched, for fate has stolen away their intelligence. Actually, I'm going to open this up on a Word document. I put this all in a Word document before. I don't know why I was looking here. This will make it easier. Okay, there. Let's type in the word misfortune. Yeah, oops. Here it is. Okay, that's better. I'm going to put it in a more clear font. All right, now let's try to go through this. Okay, so ye. Ye means those who, vimukendriya, those whose senses, their senses are turned away from bhavata prasangat, from narrations, prasangat, from narrations about you, O Bhagavan, from your Harikatha, which sarva ashubha upashamanad. So that means your Harikatha, topics about you, bhavata prasangat, which upashamanat, from which all inauspiciousness, sarva ashubha, all inauspiciousness, upashamanat, from which it's all destroyed, are all put to rest, all auspiciousness. Let's just say destroys here. Yeah. Upashamanat, I think it's like, I'd have to look up the word again, but I think it's like quiet or like calms down your inauspiciousness. But yeah, here it just says it destroys. Okay, so those who, I just want to make sure I'm getting it really clearly. Those whose senses, with their senses are turned away. Vimuk. Vimuk means turned away, indriya. Vimuk, indriya. Their senses are turned away from you. They're from topics regarding you. So they're not hearing you, they're not seeing your topics, they're not hearing your topics, they have no engagement with your topics. They're vimukha indriya, from prasangat from bhavata, prasangat, topics of you, bhavata, which sarva ashubha upashamanat, which destroys all ashubha, all inauspiciousness. And instead, they, instead, just for lava, lava means a particle, lish means a fraction, just a particle of a fraction. Lava, lesha lava is like, it's both of these words. One is like an atomic particle and then a fraction of that atomic particle. Just like the jiva is considered to be a fraction, like if you cut the tip of a piece of a hair, into how does it say, like unlimited piece, like thousands of pieces, and then you take one of those pieces and then you further divide that into thousands of pieces. That's how tiny the jiva is. Here it's saying like the same thing. So from an atomic particle, just a fraction of that atomic particle of sukh, of kam sukh, of sense pleasure. Kama means lust and this desire, and sukh means pleasure. So just the fraction of this, the tiniest particle of a fraction of this sense pleasure. They kurvanti, they engage in with their minds, their hearts or minds. Manasa can mean heart or minds, completely overwhelmed. Abhibhuta means overwhelmed with a lobe, with greed. So they kurvanti, they engage in akushalani, in many inauspicious acts. Shashvat. Shashvat means perpetually. They're constantly engaged in akushalani, inauspicious acts, because their minds, their hearts are abhibhuta, overwhelmed with lobe, with greed. And they do that all just for a lava, just for the tiniest, like for an atomic particle, the fraction of an atomic part of sense pleasure. So therefore, they are dina, they are wretched, and daivena hatadio. By fate, by this fate, their diya, their intelligence, has been hata, has been destroyed, has been stolen away, destroyed. I don't know the best way to arrange all these parts, like all these words, but anyways, at least now I think the words are clear, the meaning of them. Let's see how it's the order that it's explained here. Those persons who refrain from hearing and chanting of your glories. Okay, so those persons whose indriya are turned away, are vimuk, to your glories. So your glories is bhavata means you, and prasangat means topics or narrations of you, which destroys all misfortune. So which upashamanat, which destroys or which calms sarva, all ashubha, all misfortune. And instead, they always engage in inauspicious activities. So kurvanti means they engage, they perform akushalani, inauspicious activities, and shashvat, always. So they always engage in inauspicious activities, being obsessed with a desire for a particle. So being obsessed with a desire. So their manasa, their hearts, their minds are abhibhuta, are completely overwhelmed with this greed for a particle, for a lava, a particle, and lesha. Doesn't have lesha in here, but anyways, a particle of a fraction of kamsuk, of sense pleasure, of material sense enjoyment, kamsuk. For fate has stolen away their intelligence. For daivena, that means by fate, diya, their intelligence, hata, has been stolen. Te means they. Okay. But now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gets this. So this Brahma is speaking to Krishna, and this is all in the third person. Now he's talking about those people who are misfortunate. And now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says this all in the first person. Now it becomes, he turns this verse into a personal prayer. And he says, Tomara prasanga sarva ashubha karo ye karva. So, O Lord, Tomar prasanga, your narrations of you, sarva ashubha koroye karva. All auspiciousness, it destroys. Koroye karva means it destroys. So your narrations destroys all inauspiciousness. Tomar prasanga sarva ashubha koroye karva. But durdaiva prabhave morman. But by prabhave means by the influence of durdaiva, of my misfortune. Morman, my mind. Kama sukha lesha ashe, in hopes of just a fraction of sense pleasure, kama sukh, with this greed, with this loba, akushala ayase. Akushala means inauspicious, and ayase means endeavors, efforts. I'm exerting myself in these inauspicious ways out of greed, in hopes of attaining just a fraction of kamasuk, of sense pleasure. And she prasange, and those, she means that, those prasange, those narrations, in those narrations, for those narrations, na koilo jatana, I haven't made any endeavor. I make so much ayase, I exert myself so much in inauspicious acts, out of greed, hoping for this fraction of kamsuk. So I'm exerting myself in this way. But for tomar prasanga, for narrations about you, for harikatha, your harikatha, which destroys all inauspiciousness, I don't even endeavor a little bit for that. She prasange na koilo jatana. And so now this is the meaning of Duradaiva from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, why? Why do we have this misfortune? What's the cause of this? Now we'll explain in this next verse. And this verse, as I said, is the best, is like such a wonderful segue into the Anarthas, which we're going to be reading about today. Let me just make this easy to see. Wait, there. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this as well, but I'm not sure how well, I'm not so clear on the meaning of everything, but okay. So Vyasadeva, Bhakti Yogena, so through Bhakti Yoga, his mind, samyak means fully pranihite male. So his mind is fully purified and is fully fixed in meditation. Pranihite is his manasi. So in his mind, it's fully fixed in meditation and it's completely purified through bhakti yoga. Bhakti yogena means by bhakti yoga, through bhakti yoga. And so in his meditation, then apashyat, he saw Purusham Purnam. He saw the supreme truth, the absolute truth, Purna Brahma, the supreme person, Purna Brahma, absolute truth. And Cha means and, he also saw Maya, who is Tad Apashrayam, who is fully sheltered by him. And so then Yaya means by that Maya, he saw the sammohito jiva, sammohito jiva. He saw the jivas who are completely captivated and bewildered by Yaya, by that Maya. And the jivas, he saw the jivas who are completely bewildered by that Maya. And those jivas, manute, they thought atmanam, they thought themselves to be gunatmakam, to be made of the three gunas of the material elements, like they thought like a product of material, the three gun, the three modes of material nature, product of matter. Even though, api means even though, para, they are far superior to that, they're transcendental. And so, and by this anartha, and so they avipaddhite. What does avipaddhite mean again? I think it's something like, okay, and so then they were, oh God, I have it on the tip of my tongue. Avipaddhite was, let's just look at the translation. Here it says affected by, I don't think it's affected though. That's not what I remember seeing. Anyways, whatever. They are affected by these anarthas and tatkritam and the activities of these anarthas. Tatkritam. Oh no, I think tatkritam refers to manute from this arising from this considering themselves to be a product of matter. Yeah. The anarthas. That yeah, something like that. Okay, now. So Anartha upashamam. This is the same word that we saw in the previous verse. Upashamam is like to put to rest, right? Sarva ashubha upashaman. See that same word there? Upashaman. And it's here as well. So to put to destroy, to put to rest all these anarthas, to calm down all these anarthas, but I think it just says destroys. So to destroy these anarthas, Shakshad Bhakti Yoga Madhoksaje. This Bhakti Yoga, this direct Bhakti Yoga to Adhokshaj, to the Supreme Lord who is beyond this material nature, who is completely transcendental. Lokasya janato vidvansh. So, but okay, sorry. I think I'm just starting to understand it a bit more. So these anarthas can be destroyed by bhakti yogam to adhokshaj Vishnu, adhokshaj Krishna. But lokasya ajanato. But the people ajanato, they don't know about this. And so vidvansh. So the learned, the completely realized learned Vyasadeva Chakre, he compiled this Sattvata Sanghitam, this transcendental scripture Srimad Bhagavatam. Sattvata, we know the Sattvata Shastras, right? Is Srimad Bhagavatam. Sattvata Sanghitam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so this is the perfect segue into the Anarthas. Why do we have this misfortune? Because of this. And now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he goes through, let's see how he explains it in Bengali. So I'm going so slow. It's because I'm trying to figure it out as well. It's not like I already understand all this. So I'm, uh, so it takes me a little while to like get it. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, Krishna, Krishna Maya Jiva, Etina Tattva, Maya Mohe, Maya Bhaddha, Jivera Anartha. Okay, so the three tattvas are Krishna, Krishna Maya, Krishna's Maya, and the Jiva. And Vyasadeva had, in his meditation, he saw all three, right? He saw Krishna, then he saw Tad, what did it say? Tad, something, Ashrayam or something like that. That Krishna Maya who's, um, and then he saw the Jiva who was bewildered by that Maya. It says, Maya Mohe, Maya Baddha, Jiver Anartha. So the Jiva's Anarthas are due to Maya Mohe, being bewildered by Maya and being bound by Maya, Maya Baddha. So due to this, Jiva has these anarthas, these unwanted things, this misfortune, anartha, misfortune. Chitkana Jiver Krishna Bhakti Yoga Bole, anartha vinashta hoy, Krishna Prem Phale. So this atomic particle of consciousness, of chit, this, yeah, conscious particle, the jiva, through Krishna Bhakti Yoga, through the power, bale means by the strength of Krishna Bhakti Yoga, anartha vinashtahoy. All the jiva's misfortune, all of his anarthas are vinashtahoy, are destroyed. And Krishna Prem Phale. This Krishna Prem fruits. In Bengali, phal phal is a verb. So phal we know means fruit, but phala means to fruit. So fruit is a verb in Bengali also. And so this Krishna Prem fruits. I guess in English you say fructifies, right? By the strength of Bhakti Yoga, Krishna Bhakti Yoga. So e tattva nama samadhite pailo vyas bhagavate bhakti yoga korilo prakash. And so this tattva, all these truths, Vyas obtained, Pailo means obtained, Nam Samadhite, in his samadhi, in his meditation on the name. And then he, Korilo Prakash, he revealed, he manifested Bhakti Yoga in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavate. That's what the Bengali means here. Okay, and so then that brings us to the Anarthas. So I don't actually know what the Amnaya Sutra is. If anybody knows, it says it Amnaya Sutra Vyakya. But if anybody knows what the Amnaya Sutra is, where it comes from, or anything about it, I would be very curious to know. But yeah, so. Oh my God, time is almost already up, and I didn't even start talking about the Anarthas. Sorry, I went very slow. Thank you for being so patient with me. I'm trying to figure this all out, and so sometimes it takes me a while. But Anyhow, let's just quickly read through it. Let's see if we can just, I think in 5 minutes we can just, we're not going to go through the Sanskrit, but we'll just read the translations of these verses. And then tomorrow we'll go through the Anarthas more like in depth. So the Anarthas, so Anarthas or misfortune are of four kinds. This is described in the Amnaya Sutra Vyakya. So this Sanskrit verse here, it means the anarthas of the living entities enchanted by the illusory energy are of four kinds. There's Swarup Brahm, illusion about one's real identity. And then there's Asat Trishna, that's hankering or thirsting for what is temporary. And then there's Aparad, there are offenses. And Hriday Durbalya, that means weakness of heart. So these four kinds of these four kinds of anarthas binds the living entity to the material world and entangle him in its miseries. And then, so the first one, Swarup Brahm is of four types, as stated in the Amnaya Sutra Vyakya. So the conditioned living entity is subject to four kinds of Brahm, four kinds of illusion. There's Jiva Swarup Brahm, so that's illusion regarding the jiva's own swarup, one's own self. Paratattva Brahm, so that's illusion regarding what is the paratattva, what is the absolute truth. And then there's Sadhya Sadhan Tattva Brahm. There's misunderstanding, there's illusion regarding what is sadhya, what is our goal, and sadhan, what is the means to attain that goal. So the truths regarding that. And bhajan virodhi vishay Brahm. And also illusion regarding what is virodhi, what is against bhajan. What are all the things that are against bhajan? What are all the unfavorable things? You know, we might think we're engaging in bhajan, but actually it's everything that's against bhajan. And it can also be very subtle. So we don't know we don't know what to do and what to stay away from, basically. Favorable and unfavorable things. Okay, so that and then we come to, so that was Swarup Brahm. Now we come to Asat Trishna, thirsting for the Asat, for that which is material, temporary. So first is the desire for objects of this world. Desire for heavenly pleasures, like those of Swarga. Desire for mystic powers. I want to be able to control people. I want to be able to, and then also desire for liberation. I don't want to suffer anymore. So these four things: desire for material objects, heavenly pleasures, mystic powers, and liberation. Okay. And now the next is aparad. There are four types of aparad. One is nam aparad, seva aparad, and then nam aparad, so offenses to the name, seva aparad, offenses to, it says Krishna's deity form, but also I think it just refers to any kind of offenses that you commit in service and seva. And then offenses to that which belongs to Krishna. In other words, to Giriraj Govardhan, the Ganga, the Yamuna, the Dham, or the lotus feet of the devotees. So everything that belongs to Krishna. And then also offenses to other living entities who are all infinitesimal particles of spirit belonging to Krishna. So we shouldn't even offend any living entity. Okay, and now Hriday Dorbalya. This is the last type of anartha, Hriday Dorbalya, weakness of heart. So scholars consider Hriday Dorbalya to be of four types. One is attachment to worthless objects. That is, objects unrelated to Krishna. And then two is hypocrisy and deceit, kuti nati. Three is envy upon seeing the prosperity of others. And lastly, number four, desire for prestige and position, pratishta. These are the four types of hriday dorbalya, weakness of heart. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a verse, all anarthas are nullified by Nam Sankirtan. So he goes through Nam Sankirtan. Then the next verse, and then he gives this verse, Apana Sangsritim Goram Yan Nama. Oh, this is a famous verse. Yan Nama Vivasho Grinan. So from Srimad Bhagavatam, the 14th verse from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. So very famous verse. If a living entity was caught up in the whirlpool of material existence, even once chants the name of Krishna, he can be freed immediately. Even fear personified trembles upon hearing the name of Sri Bhagavan. What a beautiful verse. So we know what the anarthas are. And now these are all the ways to nullify the anarthas. First, he gives us Nam Sankirtan. And then he gives another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhayam Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana, which is about taking shelter of Sri Guru. So we chant Nam Sankirtan, we take shelter of Sri Guru, and then how else do we get rid of these anarthas? Engage in bhakti, in the processes of bhakti, I'm guessing. And then what's that next? I don't know. I'd like to be able to like just have a couple words to explain each one of these verses. And then by controlling the 6 urges unfavorable to bhakti, now he's going through Upadeshamrita. And also, if we avoid these 6 faults that destroy bhakti, atyahara prayashascha, and if we engage in the 6 kinds of loving association with devotees, dadati pratigunati, and then what's this? And we stay away from any kind of bad association, from sense enjoyers or from like the opposite sex. And we can destroy our anarthas if we understand that Vaishnavas are transcendental, even though their body may have imperfections, or their nature, they might seem to get angry or things like that. But if we understand that this is like all like foam bubbles and mud in the Ganga, so we see that their nature is transcendental, even though externally it might seem that there's these deformities. So that's that verse. And if we remove this pratishtha, pratishtashra drishta, and these are all the ways to remove these anarthas. And also this kapata and kutinati, this duplicity and deceitfulness. So these verses from Manashiksha. And then nam aparad, sasatam ninda namna. So it goes through the 10 offenses to the holy name. And so on. Yeah. So that's a big section of this chapter, all the different ways to remove every one of these types of anarthas. He gives a verse for how to do it. And that will be what we'll be reading through over the next few days. So that's our program for today. All right. Hare Krishna. Oh, wait, no, we have to do our Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka program. So yeah, that's an end for our program. Now we're going to move over for those of you who are joining our Chaturmasya program, which is just trying to become familiar with the Ashtayam-Yam-Sadhana process that is followed in many Gaudiya Maths during the time of Kartik. Yeah, we're going to go through that now. Haribol Chatamai Mataji. Oh, and Haribol Vidilala Sadidi. Yeah, so I'm unfortunately I don't know so much about Bhakti Kamala Govinda Maharaj. I know that he had lots of honor for Srila Gurudev. And is he a disciple of Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj? Who, anyways, and Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj, we've read a couple times Srila Gurudev's booklet that he wrote about Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj and how dear Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj was to Srila Gurudev. And so Gurudev also, Bhakti Kamala Govinda Maharaj has so much affection for Srila Gurudev. He also speaks similar topics like Srila Gurudev and like Srila Bhakti. But I haven't been in, so I've only been in one of his classes. I just know many devotees was hearing from a lot, and that's what I heard. I remember one time Venugopal, he went to hear from him, and he told Venugopal, he said that if I ever say anything that is even slightly different from your Gurudev, you should reject what I say, and you should just focus on following the words of your own Gurudev, which I thought was really nice. That's a real Shiksha Guru, is that they they increase your dedication and determination to follow your Diksha Guru. So I thought that was very, yeah, wonderful example. But I don't know so much, so I can't really glorify him so much. But Jai Srila Bhakti Kamala Govinda Maharaj Ki Jai. Oh wait, I'm just seeing Rohini Nandan Prabhu's comment. Yes, okay, so he was a disciple of Srila Bhakti Jivanadharana Goswami Maharaj. Okay, and he lived in Kharagpur. Okay. Yeah, I saw him in Puri a few times. He's even spoken to me, but it was like just like small talk. He's like, "So what do you do in he asked me, "What do you do in the mat?" He's talking to me in Bengali. Or no, in Hindi. And he's like, "Yeah, what do you do in the mat?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Okay, just eating the winds or something like that. Havakacho. Samudra havakacho, yeah. You're just yeah, taking in the sea breeze or something like that." He said something like that to me. Okay. Um, Now we are continuing on with it. But Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Kamala Govinda Maharaj Ki Jai. And Haribo Mitra Brinda Didi. Okay, so I'm just opening up the thing. Today I'll just go through it quickly. I'm not gonna go through the translations today. As I said, try to see what you can remember from the meaning of what because we've been through the meaning so many times, so it's good to practice trying to not depend on the translation and see what you can remember. And then when you see what you can't remember, and then you go to look at the translation, then it will stick better. And then eventually you won't need the translation at all, and you'll understand everything that you're saying. So just opening it. Okay. And if anybody needs to go now, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you all tomorrow. Right. Okay, so Namabhas destroys all sins and liberates one from material existence. Tam nirvyajam bhajagunanidhe pavana pavananam shraddharajan matiratitaram uttama shlokamaulim prodyan anta karanakuhare hantayan nama bhanor abhasopi kshapayati maha pataka dhvantarashim. Parama Pavana Krishna Tahar Charan Nishkapat Shraddha Saho Koroho Bhajan Jar Nama Surya Bhasa Antare Praveshi Dvangsha Kore Mahapap Andakar Rashi. And now we go through the methodology of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka. E Śikṣāṣṭake Kohe Krishna Lila Kram Ihate Bhajana Krame Lilar Udgam Prathame Prathama Shloka Bhajo Kichu Din Dvitiya Shlokete Tabe Hoto Praveen Chari Shloke Kramasha Bhajana Pakva Koro Panchama Shlokete Nija Siddha Deha Varo Shloke Siddha Dehe Radha Padashray Aramba Koriya Krame Unnati Udoy Chai Shloka Bhajite Anartha Dure Gelo Tabe Jano Siddha Dehe Adhikar Hoilo Adhikar na labhiya Siddha Deha Bhave Viparjay Buddhi Janme Shaktir Abhave Savadhane Kram Dharo Jadhi Siddhi Chao साधुर चरित देखी शुद्ध बुद्धि पाओ सिद्ध देह पे क्रमे भजन करिले अष्टकाल सेवा सुख अनायासे मिले शिक्षाष्टक चिंत करो स्मरण कीर्तन क्रमे अष्टकाल सेवा हवे उद्दीपन सकल अनर्थ जाबे पावे प्रेम धान चतुर्वर्ग फल्गु प्राय हबे अदर्शन चेतो दर्पण मार्जनम भव महादावाग्नि निर्वापनम श्रेय कैरव चंद्रिका वितरणम वेद्यावधु जीवनम आनंदम बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृता स्वादनम सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजायते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम अपि तव रन कलि पावन गौर गावै ऐ भाव विभोर चित्त darpana pari marjanakari. Krishna kirtana jai chitta bihari. Hela bhava dava nirvapana vritti. Krishna kirtana jai klesha nivritti. Shreya kumuda vidu jyotsna prakasha. Krishna kirtana jai bhakti vilasa. Vishuddha vidya vadhu jivana rupa. Krishna kirtana jai siddha swarupa. Ananda payo nidhi vardhana kirti. Krishna kirtana jai plavana murti. Pade pade piyusha swada pradata. Krishna kirtana jai prema vidhata. Bhakti vinoda swatma snapana vidana. Krishna kirtana jai prema nidana. Now the Kunja Bhanga Lila from Govinda Lilamrita. Ratrante trasta vrinde rita bahuviravar bodhito kirashari padyar hridyar ahridyar api sukashayanad uttito to sakhibi drishto hrishto tadatvo ditarati lalito kakati ghi sashanko Radha Krishna Satrishnav api nija nija dham napta talpo smarami. Dekhi ayaruno doi vrinda devi vyasta hoy. Kunje nana rava korailo. Shukasari padya shuni. Uthe Radha Nilamani Sakhigan Dekhi Hrishta Hoilo Kalo Chitta Sulalita Kakatir Rave Bhita Radha Krishna Satrishna Hoiya Nija Nija Grihe Gela Nibhrite Shayana Koila Duhe Bhaji She Lila Smariya E Lila Smaro Argao Krishna Nama Krishna Lila Prem Dan Pabe Krishna Dama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. I think we only have a couple more days that we do this. I'm just looking at the calendar. We started on Purnima. We're doing 2 weeks for each thing, right? So I'm just looking at the calendar. Yeah, so Amavasya is in 3 days from now on the 24th. So yeah, we'll just do this for 2 more days. Tomorrow the 22nd and the 23rd. And then on the 24th, on Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shira Goswami Maharaj's 38th disappearance day, we will begin the next part of the program. We will go through the Dvitīya-yāma-sādhana. All right. Oh, and Hare Krishna Ganasham Prabhu. All right, so I'm just going to do short Jai Dwani and then we'll end our program for today. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Srila Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swapa Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajana-rahasya ki Jai. Jai Shri Kamika Akarashi Titi ki Jai, Akarashi Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Chaturmasya Vrat ki Jai, Vrat Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Kamala Govinda Maharaj ki Jai, Tadiya Shubha Tiruvav Titi ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Jivan Janaran Gosai Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Gosai Maharaj ki Jai, Jai. All the associates of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai, and the disciples and followers of those associates. Okay. Jai Shri Harinama Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya-Shikṣāṣṭaka ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinama Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Kamika Akarashi Titi ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Om. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashachal Krishna Bhakti Devi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatharani Mataji, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Champak Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Ghanasham Prabhu, and on YouTube and Facebook, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Krishna Mai Didi, Patita Pavani Didi, Vidyalalasa Didi, Mitra Vrinda Didi, and I don't know who else is there, Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, and I already said Krishna Mai Didi, right? Yeah, I think so. And all the devotees watching in the future, like Jaidev Prabhu, Shachi Devi, Revati Didi, and Manjari Didi, and everybody else, Dandavat Pranams. See you all tomorrow. I hope you have a very wonderful, auspicious Akadashi. Oh, and as I said, today is my mother's 70th birthday. So if you could, or actually, I think for those of you in America, it'll be tomorrow. So if you can wish her that she has, pray that she has a very auspicious year full of sadhu sangha and Harinam and all that, that would be very nice in our 70th year. All right. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for joining.
Please pass along the happy birthday to your mother, that we know her for so long, and great Vaishnavi, so happy birthday.
Okay, I'll convey your message to her, and I see Rohini Nandan Prabhu's message also, so I'll share your messages with him. Thank you. She'll be happy. All right, Dandavat Pranams, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. See you.